The Kewaunee School District's strategic plan will determine where our school district is going over the next 3 to 5 years and how it's going to get there. In the first two parts of our introduction, we talked about the need for a strategic plan, and we also talked about our first strategy regarding technology. Part 3 of this podcast introduction to our district's strategic plan follows up with 2 additional strategies and action planning teams you may wish to consider joining. In our parts 1 and 2 of our introduction, we discovered how the world is changing and will never be the same. This leads us to the following conclusion. We need to teach our students to deal with massive amounts of information. If we're teaching discrete facts and low-level procedural knowledge, or assessing students on how well they retain this type of information, we are doomed to fail. And we are setting our students up for a bleak future. Let's take a look at the distant past. In 1997, Google was launched. This was just 13 years ago, about the time the students who graduated from high school last year started kindergarten. It seems like it's been around forever. This changed how people across the planet accessed information. We've known it for a long time. The web is big. The first Google index in 1998 already had 26 million pages, and by 2000 the Google index had reached the 1 billion mark. Last year it hit a milestone, 1 trillion unique URLs on the web at once. Well, all this information leads to something that is now being referred to as InfoWhelm. When I Googled Kewaunee High School football, I got 44,600 results in about a quarter of a second. When I Googled Kewaunee, I got 900,000 results in 0.21 seconds. When I Googled my name, Bill Prijic, I got 5,460 hits in less than a third of a second. Should our school curriculum be teaching facts, or do we really need to teach kids how to find facts, discern truth from fiction, and how to wade through 904,000 hits to find out what you really want to know about Kewaunee? Do you want more proof that the world we grew up in has changed and will never be the same? Have you ever heard of Jimmy Wales? He's the guy who started Wikipedia 10 years ago. Here's a guy who says, hey, I'll start a website where volunteers from all across the world will come together to create a remarkable pool of human knowledge, all for the simple purpose of sharing. No ads, no agenda, no strings attached. A decade after its founding, nearly 400 million people use Wikipedia and its sister sites every month, almost a third of the internet-connected world. It is the 5th most popular website in the world. But Wikipedia isn't anything like a commercial website. It is a community creation written by volunteers making one entry at a time. When you write an entry in Wikipedia, you are part of a community. At its peak in 1990, 120,000 Encyclopedia Britannica sets were sold in the United States. In the 1980s, encyclopedias commanded a price point of between $500 and $2,000. In 1990, revenues had reached record levels, but 6 short years later, the company had reached a financial crisis due to a sharp decline in revenues. How could a leading firm have fallen so far so quickly? Just ask Western Union or GM. There's been research that has shown that the information in Wikipedia is actually more accurate than information found in the Encyclopedia Britannica and other professionally done encyclopedias. And the reason for that is it's constantly being revised, whereas a print encyclopedia is printed once and never looked at again till the next publication. Wikipedia is revised on an hourly, if not minute-by-minute basis by users. 1100. Harvard turned down 1,100 applicants with perfect 800 math SAT scores. 400. There are 400 immigrant students on Stanford University's waiting list who scored perfect ACT or SAT scores. Memorizing a bunch of facts and learning everything you possibly can learn in high school won't even guarantee you a spot in Harvard or Stanford anymore. Education is no longer about memorizing facts for a test to be forgotten shortly thereafter. Here's some more proof that the world will never be the same. For the first time in history, the number of U.S. households with cell phones only outnumber those with landlines only. 20% of the people have only a cell phone, no landline. 17% of the people in this country have only a landline, no cell phone. This is the first time cell phones have outnumbered landlines. Is the world as we know it changing? Let's take a look at books. We've had books printed on paper for the past 500 years. That technology changed very little during that half millennium. This is a Kindle DX. It's slim, just over 1/3 of an inch thick, about as thin as a magazine. You can carry your library with you wherever you go. This thing holds 3,500 books and periodicals and documents. Its 10-inch screen reads just like real paper. It has an auto-rotating screen. The display auto-rotates from portrait to landscape as you turn the device so you can view full-width maps, graphs, tables, and web pages. It has a built-in PDF reader. It works on wireless. 3G wireless lets you download books right to your Kindle DX anytime, anywhere. No monthly fees, no annual contracts, and no hunting for Wi-Fi hotspots. You get free wireless delivery of books in less than 60 seconds with no PC required. It has a long battery life. You can read for days without recharging it. It has a read to me feature with a text-to-speech feature where it will read you newspapers, magazines, blogs, and books. It'll read them out loud to you. It has big selection and low prices. There are over 650,000 books currently available, including all the books in the New York Times bestsellers. But it's more than just books. It has international newspapers, including the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, magazines, including the New Yorker and Time, plus popular blogs, all auto-delivered to you wirelessly. Amazon released the first generation Kindle in November of 2007 for $399. It sold out in 5.5 hours. Today, this piece of technology only costs $139. The device remained out of stock for 5 months until late April 2008. Kindle was the first, but now there's dozens of gadgets that do the same job. In fact, I have an e-reader app on my smartphone, and I downloaded that for free. In the future, e-textbooks will almost certainly cost less than the paper version, and they'll be updated more regularly at a fraction of the cost. They will soon have every volume in the world's 5 largest libraries digitized, available electronically. That's 60 million titles. What will this mean for libraries? Will we even need a physical library? What does this mean for paper textbooks? Will we even need them? Not if you go to school in the Kewaunee School District. In November, their superintendent and Board of Education announced they were done buying paper textbooks. Do you have any idea what these are? This is NEC's new paradigm for a laptop computer. It has a cell phone, camera, scanner, handwriting recognition software, a digital projector, and it's wireless. But probably most significantly, it has a virtual projectable infrared keyboard. See it there in the lower left-hand corner? The keyboard is really there. It's virtual. By typing its virtual keys, you can send email, post a blog, download music, anything you can do with a regular keyboard, except wreck it by spelling a cup of coffee on it. This revolutionary new miniature computer is being worked on in Japan. It comes in the shape of a pen that you can slip into your pocket. It projects like a monitor and a keyboard on any flat surface that you can begin using like any regular PC computer. With its Bluetooth technology, it recognizes your key presses and it inputs just like a regular keyboard. What effect will this technology have on our students? What will a student be able to do with one of these in their pocket? We need to prepare kids for their future, not our past. Oh, and by the way, this isn't new. It was built in 2003, 8 years ago. The prototype device, dubbed the PISM, was a pen-style personal networking gadget created by the Japanese technology company NEC. It reportedly cost $30,000 back then. Saying goodbye to our current laptop computers might therefore be a tad bit premature at this point, but if you remember Moore's Law, the cost of technology goes down 50% every 18 months. There's no doubt we will be saying goodbye sometime before today's kindergartners graduate from high school. Are we preparing kids for their future or our past? According to the U.S. Secretary of Labor, the average person will change jobs 9 times by the time he or she is 32. Students entering school today should expect to change careers 5 to 7 times before retirement. Alvin Toffler is a former editor of Fortune magazine. He's a futurist, but he's best known for writing the book Future Shock. He said, "The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn." Alvin Toffler said this in 1970, 41 years ago. Are we doing all we can in the Kewaunee School District to teach kids to learn, unlearn, and relearn? Due to rapidly changing dynamics facing the 21st century, new skills will be needed for every man, woman, and child to address the economic, social, political, and citizenship challenges that await them. Business success will demand a workforce whose skills adapt to the needs of the future. There are new standards called NET standards that we must teach in the Kewaunee School District and every school district in this nation. If we don't, the kids from Bangalore, India, and Beijing, China will get the jobs our students want. I guarantee you that the teachers in Bangalore and Shanghai are teaching their students these standards as we speak. Let's take a closer look. To be proficient in this standard, students must know how to use word processing, drawing tools, presentation software, concept mapping software, graphing software, and other productivity software to illustrate concepts and convey ideas. Want to guess what grade this standard is supposed to be mastered by? Grade 2. Let's look at another one. To be proficient in this standard, students with assistance from teacher, parents, or student partners must identify procedures for safely and securely using telecommunications tools like email, bulletin boards, news groups to read, send, or post electronic messages for peers, experts, and other audiences. What grade? Grade 2 again. If you say, "No way, our students can't do that," you're right, they can't. But students in India and China can. In fact, they're accomplishing these standards right now. There are many schools in the United States doing these standards now too. We need to be one of them. Here's an 8th grade standard. To be proficient by the end of 8th grade, students must know how to conduct an advanced search using Boolean logic and other sophisticated search functions. They know how to evaluate information from a variety of sources for accuracy, bias, appropriateness, and comprehensiveness. To be advanced by the end of 8th grade, students must know how to research and evaluate the accuracy, relevance, appropriateness, comprehensiveness, and bias of electronic information sources concerning real-world problems. Yes, we've got our work cut out for us, but our strategic plan will be the tool that the Kewaunee School District uses to change our instruction and curriculum. So how will our strategic plan address this? Through this strategy. We will create and implement individual learning and career plans that are achieved by collaboration among students, parents, educators, and the community so that all students can fulfill their dreams. Our individualized learning action planning team will determine how our school district is going to accomplish this during the next 3 to 5 years. When done, we will have students who can learn, unlearn, and relearn. We will have students well prepared to change jobs and change careers many times during their lifetimes. We will have students well prepared for their futures and not a past that is no longer relevant. If you wish to join this action planning team, please contact Bill Prijic at the phone number or email listed. Part 4 of this podcast introduction to the Kewaunee School District follows up with one additional strategy and action planning team you may wish to consider joining.